there's just Woody hauling butt to sky Cohen out, and Cohen is skied out. So yeah, Woody's pretty good at running that boat. All right, here's what I'm flying next. This is Flux. It's a medium. It's not my personal one. My personal one's actually in Utah right now. I lent it out to a guy in Texas, and then he was going up to Utah to fly arches, and it's a little bit higher altitude, so I said, hey man, take that medium or take that large with you. And he actually just ordered a medium. But here's the Flux. This is the intermediate wing. It'll keep up with the majority of reflex wings, but it's not reflex. And yeah, it's just a great wing. We're gonna go up there and do some collapse testing, deflation testing actually, and we're gonna do some full stalls and see how it spins, all that good stuff. And yeah, I mean, I've been flying this wing about 7 months now. I've only taken one minor deflation on my extra small and some pretty sporty wind, and yeah, so today we're just gonna test the whole thing out. Man, Woody's got me right over the play box. Release. Good. Let's see how she stalls, guys. Install. Oh my God. The reopen, so nice. Let's try one more stall. Kill it. I like the way this thing stalls. Let's go for a heli, huh? Negative spin than it was a helicopter, but meh. Let's go. Let's get onto these. Let's get onto these deflations. Left side, 50%. Asymmetric deflation. Boom. Hold it. What happens? Okay. Holding. Boom. Whoop. Frontal. Holy shit. That is one of the smoothest frontal. What's going on my camera? Oh, we're back. That was one of the smoothest frontals I've ever recovered from. Ever. Let's do it again. like no input. Let's hold it. Let's hold this frontal. I mean, literally, it comes out without any input. Let's go ahead and do a left side 50% deflation. I'm going to fall into it at first, and then I'm going to lean away and see how it corrects out. So, deflation 50%, going into it, lean right brake, a little bit of right brake, wing overhead, still holding it. Easy stuff, good stuff. But does she sat? All right, I guess. Take another rat. get another sat in to the right this time. Not doing that stupid shit I did last time. And slip. Honestly, I just couldn't pull hard enough for the sat. They have these brakes a little longer for when you go trimmers out. They don't want the brakes to be pegged, so it's just not quite enough for a sat on this wing. That's a medium. Let's see how she wings. Let's see if she locks into a flat down. I'm kind of getting low in altitude, but I figured out this one by now. Exits on her own. Hey guys, the audio didn't work on this second run, so I'm going to go ahead and do a voiceover. This is going to be speed bar deflations and trimmers out deflations. So here comes a speed bar, left side 50% deflation. I'm going ahead and holding the deflation, and I release and come out. Now we're going to do a frontal, full speed bar, and frontal, release, glider comes right out. This glider is very impressive on frontals. Probably the most impressive glider I've ever flown with recovering from frontals. And here comes another frontal, full speed bar, hold, let it out. What I'm actually doing here subconsciously is coming out off of the speed bar. It's just a reaction that I have. And I make corrections without meaning to as well. So what I'm going to do here is just release the trimmers, which is the same thing as full speed bar, and go ahead and do another frontal. Make sure everything looks the same. And nice recovery. And yeah, this glider, I'm not sure what it is about it that makes it recover so good from frontals. But here's the left side, asymmetric deflation, holding it, trimmers out, trying to see if the glider will dive at the ground, and it's not diving at the ground. Some gliders will lock into a spiral on this one if you hold it, and this one does not. As soon as I release the deflation, the glider reopens and flies. So now here's on to a spin or a helicopter attempt. This glider does not want to helicopter. It just does not like spinning. It comes out on its own. I tried manipulating it a couple different ways on the entry and keeping it spinning, and I just can't do it. One of my buddies went up right after this. He gave it a few attempts, and he was really working with it, trying to get it to go, but it just wouldn't happen. Now this next one coming up, this is a full speed bar, trimmers out, asymmetric deflation, release, dives 180 degrees and reopens. It actually wasn't quite 180 degrees, but that was a lot more violent because it was full speed bar and it was trimmers out, and that's normal for gliders. And here comes my personal favorite move, big ears. I think it's absolutely hilarious when people post video or pictures of them doing big ears. It's just a method for losing altitude, and just about every glider, actually every glider I've ever heard of, is stable in big ears. It's a very safe maneuver. I'm doing a little bit of weight shift turning here in big ears, but this is mostly because I have nothing to do the rest of the altitude, so I'm just trying to lose a little bit of altitude to get back to landing. And now here comes a real frontal. So I go for a spin. This is real life frontal. I go for a spin. Of course it does not do it. And the glider goes back. I do not catch the surge. It goes all the way over the horizon, full frontal, and then recovers pretty easy. I was pretty impressed with that one because that was a real life frontal. Just me basically messing up a helicopter attempt. And the reason I tried that one was because the toe got cut short for some mechanical issues. I was only about 600 feet. Hey guys, Andy here. I just wanted to talk about the Flux review I just did and go over how it felt to me in the different deflations. Also wanted to go over the things I liked about the wing and things I did not like about the wing as much. So trimmers in, With most deflations, it felt pretty solid. It felt like an A with the frontal deflations. I even had a real frontal out there when I took I was spinning the glider, and the glider fell way back, and I did not catch the surge, and it dove all the way forward. And by the time I pulled, the whole glider was slack, and it came back and just boom, reopened. So I'd say for frontals in both trimmers in and trimmers out, the glider reacts like an A, and it probably has the best recovery from frontals that I've ever experienced. Now in asymmetric deflations, I would say the glider acts like a B. It'll go about 90 degrees off when you pull on a 50% asymmetric deflation, and which is pretty standard for B. But also when I hold it in, it will not lock into a spiral, and as soon as it'll turn, and I can actually correct the turn by weight shift a little bit of outside brake, and I can bring the glider back overhead. Or if I don't do anything, no corrections at all, trimmers in or trimmers out, as soon as I release the asymmetric deflation, the glider automatically recovers. But I would put the dynamics of it on probably a B level. And now full speed bar, trimmers out, which is as fast as you can go. I did an asymmetric deflation on that one, and it did almost a 180, and it dove pretty hard. And once it dove, the glider recovered. And I would say that the reactions of full speed bar trimmers out is more along the lines of a C glider. Now moving on to stalls. Stall was surprisingly nice. The only thing I didn't like about the stalls, and this is a good thing for safety, but it's not something that I want in a glider when I'm trying to stall it, but you don't fly the glider for stalling it. But the brakes are kind of long, and they do that because the Flux has such a large speed range. So when you let the trimmers out, they don't want the brakes to be pegged at the top of the pulleys. So because of that, they make them a little bit longer. And that's also a safety thing. So when the brakes are a little bit longer, you're a newer student, intermediate student, if you pull a lot of brakes, you're not going to stall the wing. So for me to actually stall it, I had to take a wrap, had to bury the brakes, and get it this. Hey guys, I'm not sure what's going on with the camera. Anyways, but the recovery of the stall was pretty nice. I would say that was probably A level for the recovery of the stall. And when I tried to spin the glider, it did not want to spin. It did not want to rotate. I tried several different entries to get it in there, and it just wouldn't quite hold that spin no matter what I did. And I'd say that's also a good thing, because if you get yourself into a situation where you do spin the glider, you want it to recover on its own. And the only time I had a violent recovery on that was when I was really deep in a spin, and I let the glider come all the way back and shoot. But that was just a mistake on my part. Normally when you do spins, it's from trying to pull brake one side and weight shifting the other way, like weight shifting with the prop torque but pulling opposite brake. That's a lot of times when beginner people get into spins. And you want to know that when you release from that before you go into the negative spin, or if you start to go into the negative spin and you do your 180 rotation and you go hands up, that the glider is going to recover and come overhead, and it's not going to have a violent surge. And if it does, because you get the glider so far back, then it's going to frontal, and like I was saying earlier, the frontal recovery on that glider is just phenomenal. So what this wing is to me is, I would say it's my Cadillac. It's the wing I like to go cross country on. It's the wing I like to fly around, relatively mellow. Foot dragging, low flying and weaving, I prefer this glider. It actually put a hold on my acro game when I first got these Fluxes, because I was just enjoying the low flying and kind of like the freestyle flying so much that I lost all my progression on the helicopter, and it took me a little bit to get it back. So yeah, so this Flux is my Cadillac. It's not really a glider for loops and wing overs and stuff. It doesn't really sat that well, and it doesn't like. You can definitely wing over it, and especially with the motor on, if you go a little bit smaller, it wing overs really well. But it's not built for it. You're taking something that's not built for something, and you're trying to manipulate it to do it. And you can do that with certain kind of gliders, but this one is just made to be smooth. And I didn't do any of it, but it has wingtip steering. The wingtip steering is great when you're speed bar on, trimmers out. I'm not real big on the wingtip steering. I'll actually weight shift a little bit before I grab the wingtip steering. I'm a conventional brake kind of guy, because conventional brakes, if something does go wrong, that's how you're going to get out of situations. But it has both, and you know, it's your preference on what you want to use the wing for. But for me, I use it to cruise. I use it for XC. I don't really use it as my throwdown wing. I would say it's a good intermediate. If you're a pretty good beginner, you can start learning on one. And once you get more advanced, you can start going on smaller sizes. The smaller sizes that you actually go on, the more sporty the glider gets, which is not a bad thing if that's what you're looking for, but it all depends on what your search actually is. But alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you have any questions about the gliders or the testing, or if you actually have a glider of your own that you would like to send out to me and have me do all the same deflation tests and stalls and spin on it, then just let me know. Send me a message on Facebook, call me, send me a message on YouTube, that's fine. Anyways guys, have a good one.